Hey, did you know that all of you have within you the power to change the world and make it a better place? I didn't. I grew up in a conservative home where men were given more opportunities than the women. This realization came to me when I was 19 years old, when picking a course for the next stage of my tertiary education. My first option was to go to business school, but my parents told me that if you came from a family which had no money to begin with, it was useless to attend business school because you wouldn't have a very successful start in your career. I don't know where they got the idea from. Maybe it was just to stop me from taking an expensive course. My second option was to study nursing, but it was quickly shut down as well due to its heavy workload and commitment. I then thought to myself, hey, I'm pretty smart. Why not challenge myself and do law instead? My parents, they liked the idea and they gave me the okay. Then came the choice of whether I should go for the cheaper 3+0 option or the twinning program, which was the 2+1 option. My dad told me that because he had limited money to spend on us, if there were times where he had to choose between me and my brothers, they would be given priorities to go overseas. It was then that I was hit with the realization that in our family, men were prioritized over the women as they were thought to be providers of the family. I also later found out that all the female siblings of my father had their education halted right after elementary school, and they were told to stay home to cook and clean and to tend to our paddy fields. Back then, I had yet understood that this was not his fault. He had to make a choice, and unfortunately, the way they were brought up affected his decisions. And so, disheartened by my father's comments, I settled and I went to college. And when I was there, I met a guy and we had to develop a relationship. It was a 7-year-long relationship, a bad one. And it's now what I call the storm of my life. In that relationship, I was unfortunately ingrained with deep mistrust, low self-esteem, and low self-confidence. He had somehow made me believe that I was nothing without him, which later I came to know as the term gaslighting. Also, at the time, we had a pet dog. I mostly stayed in the relationship because of the dog. Jiu-Jitsu came to me when I was at the lowest point of my life. Having just completed my degree, I was back in my hometown, Kota Kinabalu, Sabah, for 3 months, away from what was a messy relationship to spend some much needed time with myself and my family. One day, while window shopping, I stumbled upon a flyer which read, "Want to learn martial arts to protect yourself?" I said to myself, yeah. I went for my first class, despite coming out with my muscles aching all over. I never stopped. The first year of learning Jiu-Jitsu, which was just me trying to get the hang of it. Other people's weight on me, other people's sweat in my eyes and in my mouth. I successfully got rid of that relationship, but unfortunately, I had lost my dog. As days went by, I tried to slowly heal from the toxicity of that relationship, and I tried to rediscover myself. Months went by, and I was required to return to Kuala Lumpur to take the Certificate of Legal Practice Law course, CLP for short. It was then that I was introduced to Monarchy MMA Gym, where I met the most important person in my life. He would also become my professor and my mentor, Professor Bruno Barbosa. It is my professor who is responsible for building and shaping me, who introduced me to good values, who instilled upon me character and habits, which gave me a better grasp of who I am and who I can be. And it was he too who helped me find my purpose. I had found new hope. One fine afternoon, my professor approached me and said to me, as he often does to all of his students, "Hey Cass, there's a competition in a month. Would you like to fight?" By that time, I had been training under Professor for a few months now, but I was still unsure. And he said, "Why don't you give it a try? If you come to like it, good. If you don't, then fine." That day, after rolling and after being thrown around by Big John Frewin, I agreed to the competition. And so, I set myself a routine of coming to the gym 3 times a week to train for the competition. I ate less carbs and sometimes no carbs at all. I ate more veggies in order to cut to the weight of my category. On the day of the competition, can you imagine how nervous I was? My first match was against a Singaporean. I went in, hands cold, nervous. I didn't actually know what to do. I can't remember what happened actually. Luckily, it was caught on video, so I went to rewatch it. Long story short, I managed to pass the guard. Then I managed to establish side control. I then attempted a mount, but my opponent got my leg inside a half guard. And then I saw an opportunity to get an Americana submission, but my opponent was so strong, and I had to let it go. The match ended 11-0, and I had won my first ever match. I was really happy about that. But just as quickly as I had won my first fight, I lost my second. I was sad, but to learn that because of how the system works, I had placed in the podium, I swiftly forgot about the loss and went to claim my medal. My second competition was quite similar to that of my first. I won my first fight, but I couldn't get past my second, and I was again left with a bronze medal around my neck. I proceeded to go to the absolutes division, which is the all-in division, but I got paired up with an experienced blue belt. I lost horribly. I was disappointed with my 2 participations. I was so sure that I was going to win this one. I did the training. I lost the weight. What else was I missing? Other matches continued around the day, and we had intermission in the middle. Professor was close, and we met. I said, "Prof, I'm sad. I did so bad, I suck." Prof looked at me with big eyes, mad. He went, "What are you saying, Cass? You did so well. Look at all the hard work we put into training. This is just the beginning. There will be many other fights like this. It doesn't matter that you didn't win. Unfortunately, only one person can win. But look at how much you've changed. Winning is just a bonus. Forget about your loss and move forward. Jiu-Jitsu is like that." Then just like that, the competition ended. Come Monday, I was back at the gym training. After some time, Professor came to me and said, "Cass, you can win the next one." And so we planned. And when the next competition came, I won. 4 golds. And then I kept at it. I won some, I lost some. Fast forward, it's been 4 amazing years now since the day I won those 4 golds, which propelled me into my jiu-jitsu journey. Hi, I am Cassandra J. Poyong, and I am Malaysia's Brazilian Jiu Jitsu athlete. And today, I want to share with you some fundamentals that I have learned throughout my Jiu Jitsu journey. Number one, have a goal. Your goals should be good, strong goals. The kind of goals that would give you enough reason to wake up every 5 a.m. in the morning. Your goals should be strong enough to let you withstand those little challenges that so very often hits you when you least expect them to. When you are clear about what you want, you will know that there is a bigger picture behind why you do what you do. And those little challenges, they won't seem to matter as much as when you reap the benefits of your success. Number two, always have a plan. A want without a plan is just a dream. Hot air. The worst thing someone can do is something called happy hope. Lazy people can hope too. Remember my story earlier about those two first competitions of mine? Now, here's where things got interesting. I started to really plan my moves. I started by changing my training routine. Instead of going for the afternoon classes, which was an hour long, I switched and went to night classes, which were 30 minutes longer and where there were more people of my size to train with. I then started introducing more salads and white meat into my diet, which meant I was consuming less oil and thus feeling less bloated, which also translated to better sleep. I actually ate carbs to fuel my workouts instead of cutting them out completely. I also started to focus more on technique. Little details like how you shift your weight, the exact number of moves you make during your transition. Believe it or not, these are the things that would make or break your game. Little by little, I started to develop my own A game. Number three, cultivate good habits. Here are some habits that I have developed. One, read a book. How long has it been since you've read a good book? If the answer is nowhere within 3 months ago, then I suggest you pick up the habit of reading as soon as you can. I think a good book can really give you perspective on any matters that you would like to know. If you want to learn how to become a better leader, there are many experts out there, such as Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, David Goggins, who wrote on this topic. And to not pick them up and equip yourself with this knowledge would be a tremendous waste. Two, exercise. Try not to go a day without at least 30 minutes of exercise. Exercising lets your body produce feel-good chemicals called endorphins. Three, drink enough water, eat healthy, and please, most importantly, develop the habit of getting enough sleep. But if you don't read the book, but if you can read the book and you don't read the book, and if you can eat healthy and you choose not to, and if you have the luxury to turn in to bed early and you don't, before long, these small, seemingly insignificant inactions will creep into your life to haunt you. Jim Rohn said, "The world is not designed to give you what you want or what you need. The world is designed to give you what you deserve." Failure is not a single cataclysmic event. Failure is the few errors in judgment repeated every day. Now, here is another fundamental for you. Learn to develop a strong character. Not long ago, I had the privilege to listen in to Jim Rohn's philosophy on character building, and it went something like this. Now, I don't mean to sound negative, but in my opinion, when you reach a certain age and if you haven't achieved much in your own terms, I don't think you can blame it on bad childhood or bad luck. I think that your strength of character plays an important part at this point. Character is what allows you to turn your ideas into achievements. It is abstract in the sense that you cannot lay a hand on it or point to it or weigh it on a scale. But in a very real sense, character is what allows you to get where you want to go. Here is then where I adapted it to something that I know. Take a simple example of the trip to the gym. This trip would require you to have a car with enough gas in the tank and keys to start the car. And you'll also need to know how to drive. You'll need judgment based on life experience to tell you when to step on the brakes whenever required. You'll need true intention to reach the gym so that you don't get distracted and detour for something else instead. You need to know how much time to allot to the trip so that you can get to the gym on time to do warm-ups that would prevent injuries or to change into your fight wear in time for class. And you'll need enough maturity to call in and say that you're not going to be able to make it should you suddenly have a meeting so that they can then keep the slot open for someone else instead. Spaces are limited and precious after all. You can't lay a hand on any of these things and you can't measure them with a yardstick, but they are as important to reaching your destination as the car or the gas or the keys to start the engine. Learn then to develop your character so that you may drive smoothly in your journey through life. Finally, always back your words up with the work. This can simply be explained with the words consistent self-discipline. The great thing about this is that it's fully your own choice to make. Do you choose to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning and make your way to training? Or do you choose to let it go and sleep in a few more hours? Do you let go of Friday night parties so that you can wake up fresh the next day to train? Or do you let one slide and party on? Because it doesn't matter what goals you have or how meticulous your plan is. If you're not willing to make the sacrifice and do the actual work it takes to finish the job, you will end up sitting there, dazed and confused, wondering why the world was so unfair to you when it was your own lack of discipline that contributed to your ultimate downfall. I strongly believe that these fundamentals are pertinent to one's life and that it is possible to achieve. All you need to do is start by being ruthlessly honest with yourself. Everything I've said might seem hard in the beginning, but I promise you, once you've tasted the sweet nectar of success, you won't want to go back to your old ways. I hope I have succeeded in adding value in your life. Thank you.